Welcome to the Your Yoga Flow studio. My name is Joanna. If we've not met before, I'm a faculty member here. And today we're going to be working through a couple of short exercises that are really beneficial for our feet. Before we get there, if you click the description link, you're going to find a week's worth of free classes to our platform. We have hundreds of on-demand and live classes for you to explore, as well as online teacher training options and a podcast too. So if you're curious to dive in, please do. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. And let's dive into this short class dedicated to our lovely feet. So we're going to start seated. You don't need any props for this class other than your lovely self, your mat, maybe something cozy to sit on. And we're going to first of all take a look at our right foot. I would love for you to cradle your right leg in a way that's comfortable for you. So wrapping your hands around the outer edge of your right knee and maybe the outer edge of your right foot if available. If this is not available to you, you could also try doing this with a strap. You can wrap the sole of your right foot into the strap and hold the strap with your right hand, or wrap the strap around the sole of your right foot and around the outside of your right knee to create this same kind of cradling. Maybe your left hand can reach around your right foot while you do this. So here we're just starting to look at the foot, perhaps wiggle the toes. And then we're going to explore scrunching up the toes and widening the toes. So you can try that a couple of times while you're here, just getting familiar with how that looks and feels. And then for the next part, if available, you're going to take your left hand and interlace each finger between each of your toes. So it's like you're holding hands with your foot. And you really want to wiggle your fingers into the toes so you have a nice grip, a nice bind. From there, you can stay supporting your outer right knee and start to create circles with your right ankle, using the support of your left hand. And I know this might feel a little bit strange if you've never done it before, but stick with me here. The reason I wanted us to bring some attention to the feet is because there is a lot going on in the feet, and I think we sometimes neglect them a little bit. We wear shoes that don't fit us so well. We spend a lot of time on our feet working and doing our activities. And I'm not sure if we give them the care they need and deserve. There is so much fascial tissue in the soles of the feet, and because of just the workload that we put on the feet, they tend to be very tight and restricted. And what we really want is really spread, wide feet, spread toes, lots of space between each of our toes, so that we have a wider base to balance on. We'll feel more stable and we'll feel more rooted and grounded to the earth. So the more time you can spend massaging your feet, taking your shoes and socks off and allowing your feet to move, playing with no shoes and socks on at all, so walking barefoot, playing barefoot, putting your feet on the grass, the earth, the sand. It is so good to help all the sweet little muscles and bones and fascial tissue that are around the feet. So once you've done that a few times, let's try and release those fingers. Bring the leg in front of you. You can either have the leg bent or straight and just wiggle those toes for a moment. Hopefully that feels really good. Let's do the same on the other side. So first you're going to start with that little bit of cradling, just having a look at the foot, and then maybe start to wiggle the toes a little bit while you're here, and then scrunch and widen the toes a couple of times. It's very interesting to see the habits of the feet too, and hear out for any little clicks, little air pockets, little crunching. If you've ever had an accident around your foot or ankle, there may be some grinding of the bones, or there might be some scar tissue, some muscular scar tissue there. So just playing a little bit, feeling out what's going on. Then you're going to put each finger between each of your toes as best you can, and really press the toes towards the end of the fingers there, so you have a really nice grip. And then you can start some rotations, and I'm really squeezing my hand into my toes. It's a little bit painful, but I know once I release the hand from the foot, it's going to feel so much more spacious and light, and the toes are going to feel a little bit wider. So a few more rounds like this. So if you've never thought about your feet before, maybe this is the moment that changes for you. I know lots of people like to roll their feet on tennis balls, or even like firmer, smaller balls to create a massage for the feet and to help kind of open up some of those fascial lines in the soles of the feet. So maybe that will be useful for you too. And a lot of the time, there's many reasons why we suffer from, things like sciatica or lower back discomfort or tight hamstrings, or issues around the knees. And sometimes it is because the feet are so tight. So let us try and remember that we need to look after the foundations, our roots, these body parts that are in contact with the floor the most, to hopefully allow that to ripple up through the rest of the body and allow us to feel more mobile, fluid, and at ease. So let us now release these fingers from toes, and hopefully that's given you a little bit of a lift, a little bit of a boost. We're now going to come onto our knees. And if you have sensitive knees, feel free to roll up the front of the mat a couple of times and put your knees on that. Or like I have this little kind of soft faux fur pad, which is really nice for the knees. Or you could use one of these chip foam blocks. That's really handy too. We're going to tuck our toes underneath us, and you sometimes have to help out the little baby toes. They sometimes get left behind. So you want all 10 toes tucked, and then your pelvis is sitting on your heels, and your hands are coming up onto your thighs. But if you find that this is too much, you can always put your hands back down. You can come down onto your forearms just to release some of that pressure of your pelvis to heels. You can do that at any time. Another option would be to come up onto your knees at any time. Otherwise, you're sitting here, nice and tall, lower ribs hugging in. This is called toe stretch. If you have been to many yoga classes, you may have experienced toe stretch in those classes before. It's quite a common stretch to come into. It is so good for stretching the arches of the feet, spreading all 10 of your toes into the floor, and really working through some of those fascial lines. We literally have a line of fascia that runs from the soles of our feet all the way up the backs of our legs, all the way up the back of the spine, all the way the back of the neck, up to the top of the head. There is literally one line of fascia like that. It's wild. So we need to make sure that we're not just stretching our back, we're not just stretching our hips and our hamstrings. We got to get all the way down to the feet. And I know right now some of you are like, when will this be over? This is too much. I know. I used to really not enjoy this pose at all. But I promise you, with practice and time, it does get easier. It's just because your feet are not used to being in this position, but it doesn't mean they can't be in this position. Let's try and take 3 more breaths together here. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. One more time in. One more time out. That was only 2, so one more. Inhale. Good job. Exhale. struggling to count to 3 there. Put your hands on the ground, untuck your lovely toes, ooh, and then paddle the tops of your feet into the floor. And you can be a little bit vigorous with this. You're pushing fresh blood back into your feet. So do this for as long as you need until all of that kind of sensation starts to dissolve. Then you can come around to your seat, and my little joke is always to check that all your toes are still there, because sometimes it feels like maybe they're not. Lean into your hands, give all of your toes a wiggle, and roll through your ankles. Good. And now flex your feet to the sky and start to think about pointing one foot down and the other foot staying up, and just watch the habits of your feet and your ankles. You might notice that one foot points really nicely and the other foot does not. Same when flexing, and there can be lots of different sensations too that are showing up when you're doing this. So just become aware of what's happening. Good. And then you can roll your ankles in both directions. The last piece we're going to explore is putting the soles of our feet together and widening our knees. And then when you sit up tall and you bring your heels in towards you, you're getting a stretch down the outer sides of your feet and ankles. If you want to lean forwards into this, you can. But try your best not to wrap your hands under the feet and try and pull them up. Try and keep the outer edges of your feet on the ground. Let the knees go wide. If you want to use blocks under your knees or hips for this one, you can. Take a couple of breaths. So these are just some very short, simple exercises that you can do daily. You can be massaging your feet a lot more than I think we do. And I think we can spend a bit more time and attention with our shoes and socks off and just working through the articulation of the feet, rolling the ankles, flexing and pointing the feet, scrunching and widening the toes, toe stretch, rolling the ball on the soles of the feet. Anything that you can do to stimulate and activate the soles of the feet, the better. And not only is that going to help you feel more balanced, more stable, more connected to the ground, but I think it also will help you to feel a little more energized through the rest of your body. Just from doing toe stretch, it's like a good morning coffee. It really is stimulating. So I hope that some or all of these exercises have been useful for you today. We'll finish with one final one. You're going to bring the soles of your feet together and bring your knees back together. Sorry, bring the soles of your feet to the floor and your knees back together and come around to a child's pose. This is a lovely way to finish because the tops of your feet are resting on the floor and your heels are to your pelvis, so that the weight of the pelvis is adding a bit of extra pressure to your feet. The hands and the forearms can come forwards. Your forehead can rest on the ground or on a block, or you can stack your hands under your head. And this is a sweet place to finish, stretching the tops of the feet and ankles, coming into a place of rest and digest, the belly relaxing between the thighs. So again, I really hope that these exercises will be helpful and handy to you and maybe some of your friends and family members that you want to share them with. I really look forward to seeing you on your mat again soon. And here's to happy feet. Have a great rest of your day.